It has never worked as a question to the point where we had a conversation about it and we're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we slightly reworded it. Okay, now is it time to worry about the Chiefs?
Of course it's time to worry.
Wow.
Listen, after the Denver loss, I sat here and let me go back a step further. After the Bills loss, going into the bye, when they were at 5-4,
yeah,
I said, listen, tough loss given the fact that they had already given some games away, but I expect them to finish 12-5. And I remember your reaction. You were like, really? And I'm like, yeah, really. I think they're going to go 12-5. They then lost their immediate next game, and after that Denver game, I said, well, 12-5 is not going to happen when you're 5-5. They need to go 6-1 the rest of the way. Yeah. That was 1-1 ago. So that means the margin of error is down to nothing. Now, Patrick seems confident. The fact that Patrick, for the first time in his career, is not just talking about the next game, I found noteworthy.
That's interesting.
And the fact that Andy Reid today, we don't have the sound yet. He did it 20 minutes ago. You guys probably haven't seen the quote. Andy Reid was damn near defiant in his press conference today about how close they are, how the odd turn of phrase he chose, which is the Chiefs are going to tickle your tonsils on every play the rest of the season. His words, not mine. I don't even know what it means. And that they seem to believe they can rip off 5 in a row. But here's why it's a problem, and it's a problem greater than the fact that they are up against the best pass rush in football on Sunday night, certainly without their starting left tackle, who's out for a month or longer, and maybe without their starting right tackle as well, which would put them in a terrible position. Here's the problem. The problem is the old Chiefs that you guys wanted so badly to be back are back, but in a bad way. Because the old Chiefs, the 2018 Chiefs, had a lot of games like that Cowboys game, where Mahomes does magical stuff, where they score a bunch of points, where Mahomes' numbers are good, but they can't get a stop. And that's the problem. This Chiefs team has the 6th fewest sacks in football, the 4th fewest turnovers in football, and on 3rd and long, they cannot get off the field. From post-Tyreek Hill trade.
3rd and long.
Third and long.
Yeah.
So 3rd and long, post-Tyreek Hill trade. Because I do look at the Chiefs as 2018 to 2021 might have been the most fun, but it was 2 Super Bowl trips, 1 Super Bowl victory, and 2 AFC championship losses. 2022 to 2024, when the defense was able to more than hold up its end, they went to all 3 Super Bowls, they won 2 of them. This year, they can't get off the field, which has led to this stunning stat and graphic. 3 times this year, Mahomes has executed, go to the next one, Dust, please, a 4th quarter comeback and lost. For context, and I'm not doing a Brady comp, but just for context, that happened to Brady it was year 15. When in his career he had executed a 4th quarter comeback and they lost 3 times. It's happened 3 times this season. They can't get off the field. And when we were going to war on Wednesday, maybe more than we should have, about the predictions for the game, Brew and I both said we felt very confident Mahomes would cook, more confident in that than that the Chiefs would necessarily win, because what I was worried about could happen is what happened. They couldn't get off the field. And so now they have no margin of error left, and they have to run the table. So, yeah, it's time to worry, like legitimately.
Yeah, it's obviously time to worry. Because of their pedigree, because of the respect you have for them and what they've done, you give them a small chance of getting this done. But the thing is, they have not shown any evidence outside of their history that they can run the table. Now, here's one good thing for them. The other teams that they are battling with, Indianapolis, Houston, Jacksonville, they have the Chargers. The Chargers have a really tough schedule. And Herbert, is banged up as well as the offensive line. So those teams do have tough schedules. 10-7 won't do it, though. They have to run the table. They have to win out. But there is a little hope because of the schedules of some of these teams. But Nick alluded to it, the injuries on the offensive line. Like Josh Simmons going to be out this week. Maybe, Trey might be out.
I think Josh is going to be out, Brew.
He might be out, right.
Yes.
He could be out the rest of the season. And you're facing Houston, which is the second best pass rushing team in the league, and maybe the hottest team in the league.
I think they're
now.
the best defense right now.
The defense.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about the O-line issues because Nick refused to ever give the benefit of the doubt to Justin Herbert and the O-line injuries. He refused and still keeps trolling and saying, I guess Alt is the most important team for the most important player for the Chargers. So I refuse to even remotely entertain that. I would entertain it because it's important to address the O-line, but no, Nick doesn't get to play that card one bit. I also find it interesting that everyone kept saying that Mahomes carried the Kansas City Chiefs all these years, and yet you see how great the defense has been. And now the year where the defense hasn't been that good, you are now in the arena with the New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins. Is it because football is a team sport? Is it because it's not just all 100% Patrick Mahomes, and it's never been just all 100% Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, that's the answer. Glad we got there. Listen, I know sometimes Chiefs fans can think that I can come in hot with regard to the Chiefs, and I'm about to defend them here, and I've defended them all season long. Don't forget it. Because why? I'm actually unbiased. That's why. I have no hatred towards the Chiefs. I love them. I love them up until the point that the Chiefs fans came at me and just wanted to keep yelling at me, which is why I make the jokes, and most of them are tongue-in-cheek, but yet, people struggle with jokes and sarcasm. But what I'll say is this. Of course the Chiefs can go on a run. I think it's delusional to say otherwise. Like, I think, unless I misheard Brew, he said they had given us nothing to believe that they can, go on this win streak. And it's like, of course they can. Like, what? Of course they can. And they are right there. They are right there. They're not getting blown out. They're not looking like the Philadelphia Eagles right now. I'm not so sure they've had a single bad game as bad as what we've seen the Eagles do, what we've seen the Bills do, what we've seen the Ravens do, what we've seen the Broncos do. I really don't think we've really seen a floor as low as any other team in the NFL that we saw that the Chiefs have shown. I don't think the Chiefs have shown a floor as low as any other team, from my viewpoint. I just don't see it. And when we've seen the offense rolling, this one's a little bit harder of a definitive statement to make right now. I'm not so sure that there's a scarier offense when they're truly firing at all cylinders, that you're just like, whew, this is scary. This is, I don't know, whether it's the Lions, and I'm talking about specifically this year, the Lions, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Rams. If you have two offenses that are absolutely cooking, right? Absolutely cooking. You got Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Pacheco, Hunt, Andy, Mahomes, Kelsey, right? It's the fourth quarter. And you're saying both these offenses all these offenses are cruising and playing at an elite level. Who would you have more confidence in? The Detroit offense, the Los Angeles Rams offense, the Denver Broncos offense, the Philadelphia Eagles offense? I mean, the closest argument you would have is the Eagles because of what they did last year, but you don't feel that way this year? Because you would say at any moment they can go 3-and-out. So I don't think, again, I'm not saying that the Chiefs are still going to make the playoffs. I have no predictions, but if there is a team that can do it, it would be them. Because really, if you do the math, what do they have to win? 9 games in a row to win the Super Bowl, I think, if I did that math quickly. 9 or 10 games, whatever the exact number is, anywhere between 8 and 10, whatever it is. They've shown to be able to do that. But like I had said, and I've said this now a lot, and I said this recently in my Broncos video earlier today, that winning close games is both skill and luck. And to not have to rehash the whole example that I did, I'll just make it very basic. And I think Steph Curry is the perfect example of that. Basketball is a perfect example of this, where, you have the basketball gods. And it's lucky when Steph Curry goes for goes 8 for 12 from 3. And it's unlucky when he goes 2 for 10 from 3. He's a brilliant shooter. He's the greatest shooter of all time. Sometimes he's going to be able to go 8 for 12, and sometimes he's just going to go 2 for 10. And it's just luck that it just so happens to happen on that night. It's luck that, wow, he was absolutely on fire in Game 7. Like, if he had the ability just to be on fire at any given moment, then he would always be on fire. There's just, the basketball gods are there. And there's football gods as well. And winning a close game, consistently winning close games, absolutely a skill. You have to be great. You have to be special, well coached, well organized, etc., etc., etc. You also need football gods. You need the other team to make a mistake, not because you made them make a mistake, because they made a mistake. You need the ball to bounce your way. Okay, it was lucky. It's not to say that the Chiefs are that the Chiefs were lucky to win the Super Bowl, but it's lucky to have Greenlaw tear his Achilles in the middle of the game. It's lucky that there's a muffed punt from, I forget who it was, for the 49ers. You know, it's lucky that out of all the games that McCaffrey is going to fumble, it happens to be in the Super Bowl, I think, in an opening drive. Like, that's luck. It's not to say that the Chiefs are lucky. I think Steph Curry is one of the greatest players I've ever seen, but the greatest shooter I've ever seen, and yet you could still say it's lucky when he has a game that he goes 8 for 10 from 3. It's not to say that he's a lucky player in that regard, because he is elite, he is special. But it's the universal luck. It's just the luck of the world. So it's not luck as in like you find a $5 bill in your pocket, right? Like, that's not the level of luck that I mean. It's just the powers that be. Whatever that is, however you want to define that. And right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are not on the receiving end of that. It's like they just used it all they had. It's like a video game. They used their power meter or whatever the heck it is, whatever game you want to reference point, and they used it all last season, and now they just got none of it. Now they can't catch any of those breaks right now. And that's where you are. So I do understand why Chiefs can look at, you know, the players, the coaching staff, Andy, Mahomes. They could look at this and say, we are right there. Right? You look at the Eagles, they're in the playoffs. They have a better record. They don't feel right there. The Carolina Panthers have a better record. They don't. The Bucks have a better record in the playoffs. They don't feel right there. The Jags, I think, are the 2 seed or the 3 seed. Everything's kind of floating a little bit around right now because the Patriots are playing today. You know, so everything's slightly off a little bit. I'm picking the Chiefs over the Jags right now, right? It would make logical sense even right now to say, I have more, it's an AFC championship game. You get zapped into it right now. Actually, scratch that. It's wild card, because then that would imply that these other teams have already won playoff games. It's wild card. It's Patriots, Chiefs. You should still have a tremendous amount of confidence in the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've been praising the New England Patriots non-stop and saying that Drake May is the truth. I don't need to see any more. This guy is amazing. He is brilliant. He is awesome. He has the team. He has the coaching staff. The sky is the absolute limit. I have been so high and so vocal on Drake May. You would be crazy to not have a ton of confidence that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs could go on the road and beat the New England Patriots. You'd be out of your mind. You would be looking at it through a very narrow and biased lens to not have confidence in that. I'm not saying that would be my prediction. I'm not saying that is what was going to happen. But if you can't say, and I don't even mean where it's like, well, of course anything could happen. I mean, like, no, man. I give you a lot of praise if you can confidently say, oh, the Patriots win that game. And it's not just based off of fandom. It's actually based off of analysis and unbiased, like, you know, I've been thinking about it. I'm going through all of this, and you can still say it with your chest. The Patriots are going to win this game. Even the Broncos, going up against the Broncos. They have a rematch in Arrowhead. Massive consequences. So, you know, I get why everyone's down on the Chiefs. I get why things don't feel right now for them. It's not hard to imagine that if they were healthy from the jump, they would be in a better situation so that they are actually better than their record. It's not hard to imagine that if a ball bounced in their direction once or twice, that they would be in a better position, that they would still be in a position to legitimately be, to be a contender in the NFL. As of right now, they're not even in the playoffs. So that is how I still view the Chiefs. I really do. But I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not, an uphill battle for them, or that things are different, or that they just aren't as great as they had been in the past, right? All of these things can absolutely be true, but I think so many people are very quick to try to want to bury the Chiefs or explain away their success over these past few years, and they have absolutely been on the receiving end of some good fortune that have directly led to incredibly high levels of success, because that's oftentimes you need a little bit of that throughout the course of the season, throughout the course of a playoff run, throughout the course of a dynastic run, right? Like Tom Brady benefited from Russell Wilson throwing that ball and getting that interception, right? He was then also on the short end of the stick when Nick Foles decided to turn into the greatest quarterback that's ever lived, right? Where you're just playing, you literally are outplaying Tom Brady. Like, that's unfortunate. But at the same time, it was fortunate for them to go up against the backup quarterback. Just turned out to be a superhero backup quarterback, right? So it's just like, again, giveth, taketh, giveth, taketh. And we've seen a lot of giveth for the Chiefs, and right now it's a little bit of taketh. This is the way it is right now. It's the way how it's unfolding, but it doesn't mean that it's this massive indictment on who the Kansas City Chiefs have been, or even who they are right now. But it is telling that the Chiefs right now, they're matched up with the Dolphins and the Giants, when taking the lead in the fourth quarter after trailing. It's like, well, that's not who you want to be with, right? That's Tua and Jackson Dart and Daboll who's getting fired, and maybe the Miami Dolphins coach is getting fired, who knows at this point. But then also recognizing things like this, right? This third down percentage, how in 22 to 24 NFL rank of fourth. I mean, that's special. That's great. That's that is real. That is a huge benefit, and now they're not. And now that can directly reflect again, their record. And I got news for you. Other teams have suffered these consequences more regularly than the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be the 49ers, whether it be the Eagles, whether it be the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals, right? What do you think the rankings were for Joe Burrow's defenses over these years? Not good. Joe Burrow struggled to make the playoffs last year with the worst O-line I've ever witnessed and the worst defense I've ever witnessed. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a team anywhere close to as bad as what Joe Burrow had to deal with. And now he's struggling to get into the playoffs. It's okay to have that conversation. It's okay to defend the Kansas City Chiefs and defend Patrick Mahomes. And it's also, okay to say, how do you explain this? Specifically because you bashed a Joe Burrow, or you bashed a Justin Herbert with the O-line, and again, you can't say, well, Mahomes gets more benefit of the doubt because they won this, that, and that. It's like, no, Joe Burrow has never had some of the benefits that, say, a Patrick Mahomes has had, or a Josh Allen, or Lamar, or whatever it may be. So the answer can't always be, well, Mahomes won Super Bowls in the beginning of his career, therefore he is immune to any of these other issues, or that he's immune to any of these conversations. And again, to be clear, I'm not blaming Patrick Mahomes for why they're in this situation being 6-6. Although the reality is, you can point to direct moments that his play ultimately led to a loss. The pick six against the Jags, the interception against the Broncos, like those have had legitimately devastating consequences that have directly led to losses. Just like the Kansas City Chiefs fan base said about Joe Burrow. What did you do against the Miami Dolphins in week 2? He only threw for 160 yards. Blah. And it's like, okay, if you're going to play that game, then you have to play it for Patrick Mahomes. And you can't just keep hiding behind previous successes. It does not work that way. It's never worked that way. It didn't work that way for Tom Brady. It didn't work that way for Peyton Manning. In real time, it doesn't work that way for Matthew Stafford, for Jalen Hurts, 2 Super Bowl winners. Didn't work that way for Aaron Rodgers in the past. It does not work that way. So stop hiding behind that. It's not how it does. Either be consistent with the level of conversation that you're having when especially discussing these quarterbacks, or don't. You can't have it both ways. Multiple things can be true at the same time, and you also can't have it both ways. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs? Now, do you think it's time to worry about Kansas City? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so that you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.